Coming up next on Out of Focus, from local coffee houses to the White House, check out President Clinton's favorite band, Daddy-O and the Sax Maniacs. Plus, we saved Lori's skin and tattooed you. And the second annual Feast and Foam, Elmer style, all coming your way next.
We're Daddy-O and the Sax Maniacs. Watch us tonight on Out of Focus.
Come a long way in the last few years. With so many styles and brands out, there are enough of them to make your head spin. But it's not all gulping and guzzling. It's become an art form, so to speak. And we sent our reporter, Sean the Shark, down to Elmer Sudds in Wilkes-Barre to find out how the right beer and the right food can make the ultimate combination.
Hi, I'm Sean the Shark, and today we're going to take a different look at beer. We've all been known to overindulge in this social lubricant, but today we take a different view of beer and enjoy the taste of beer as we're at the second annual Feast and Foam at Elmer Sudds on Out of Focus.
What we're going to do this afternoon is try several different beers, some of them quite rare, and we're going to also tell you a little bit about the beers, some history about the styles, and tell you a little bit about why we paired them with the certain foods that we have this afternoon also. Anyway, the first beer, well, I'll tell you what, before we get started, I think we need to do a quick Beer 101, because I'm sure a lot of us have varying degrees of knowledge about beer, and we want to have a nice foundation to start out on. So what I'd like to do is basically tell you that no matter what beer you drink in the world, you can put the beer into one category or another, one of two categories. The first one is a category called ales. Ales are beers that are fermented at room temperature using what's known as top fermenting yeast, which just means that the yeast has a tendency to stay to the top while the beer's fermenting. Lager is the opposite of an ale. A lager is a beer that's fermented at very cold temperatures, usually about refrigerator temperatures, using bottom fermenting yeast. And then what they'll do is they'll take the beer and actually store it for up to several months at near freezing temperatures. And actually the word lager means to store. Why don't we go and try our first beer, which is the Weihenstephan Hefeweiss.
What the beer tasting involves is trying different types of beers. Today, we're going to do at least 7 courses of beers, but also each beer is accompanied by a food that will enhance the flavor of the beer. John Hansel, beer master extraordinaire, is here to describe everything for us.
What people don't realize is that beer is part of gastronomy, and it is a food. And most people, when they're used to drinking, they usually drink alone, as far as no other food with that. But what we try to teach is that a beer alone can be a good experience, but with the right foods, it can be a harmony and actually be better than the beer as if you were just drinking it by itself. And some beers are great that way.
Is this your first Feast and Foam?
Yes, it is.
Are you enjoying yourself?
I'm having a blast.
What do you think with the food going with the beer?
Awesome. Delicious. Couldn't be better.
You're a man of many words.
Well, I had too many beers.
You seem to be giving all these beers a pretty high rating here on your Elmer Sudds stat sheet. What do you like the most about them so far?
It's just interesting to the contrast of the different types of beers.
Your one comment on your sheet here says that it smells like ham. What do you think?
It smelled like ham.
That's all I could say. The plethora of Boston lettuce you see in front of you will also be one of the courses that goes along with the beers today at the second annual Feast and Foam. We're with Steve Salit, General Manager, VP, owner, Chief Cook, and Bottle Washer here at Elmer Sudds. Steve, this is your second Feast and Foam. How do you think it's been going so far?
So far, so good, Sean. What do you think so far?
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. We're talking to you, Steve. You're not supposed to be interviewing me. I'm interviewing you. Do you scan the area? Do you go out of the area? How do you find some of these beers?
I got to look long and hard. I travel Allentown a lot, Philadelphia, but it's hard getting a lot of these beers because they're so popular now and they're in such demand that they're not readily available as the other popular brands are. So, but it's upward and coming now, so there are going to be a lot more beers being made and a lot more beers being featured, microbrewers. So it's exciting. It's fun.
We tie in the whiskey into the beer because most people don't realize that whiskey is just distilled beer without hops. So I'm trying to teach the beer drinkers to learn more and try more whiskeys also.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed our second annual Feast and Foam here at Elmer Sudds. And remember, in the words of General Manager, Vice President, Chief Cook, and Bottle Washer here at Elmer's, Steve Salit, sometimes it's better to appreciate than intoxicate. For Out of Focus, I'm Sean the Shark.
Thanks, Shark. Boy, that food looked delicious. More Out of Focus coming up. Hi, welcome back to Out of Focus. You know, getting a tattoo has become very common among young people these days, and we got a huge response when we asked for volunteers during local radio interviews. So we sent our cameras out to Marc's Tattoo in Scranton, where anyone can get a tattoo, even you.
There used to be something a sailor got on an alcohol-filled evening with his buddies. Or the impression is that some hairy 300-pound guy with a patch on his eye is going to do it in some sleazy alley behind a closed door. But now in the 90s, a form of self-expression has stuck. I'm Matt Fry, and we've taken our out-of-focus cameras to Scranton, to Marc's Tattooing, to clear up some of the misconceptions about getting a tattoo. First of all, the waiting area is a comfort. They even have a pool table, so you can take a couple shots before you get your tattoo. Yeah, definitely. I think that one's good. Works for you. I don't see any 300-pound guys named Bubba here waiting to get a tattoo. Instead, we're greeted by Karen, who's not only just a receptionist, she'll also help you pick out the perfect tattoo.
Man, I tattoo everybody from bikers and to lawyers, doctors, professional people, kids, deadheads.
Pretty much everyone.
Every walk of life gets tattooed.
This isn't the picture that I get when I picture a tattoo studio.
Well, a lot of people get the impression when you say tattoo parlor, you know, they have a dingy old nasty place, and it's really not the artwork that we're putting out. That's not how it is. I mean, tattooing today, anything can be done from little hearts and roses all the way to photorealistic. You know, we can do portrait work of your pet dog or your mother. It has to be clean. You know, it's just like a doctor or dentist. You know, working on a patient, they have to be clean. And as far as tattooing goes, it has to be the same way. And we do uphold the highest health standards in the tattoo industry.
What do you use to sterilize everything?
Everything is autoclave sterilized. We use hospital sterilization techniques. Pins are never reused. We only use them once. And everything else is scrubbed and autoclaved, individually wrapped. I've been educated in disease prevention in tattooing through the Alliance of Professional Tattooists, and the AIDS virus, people think needles and AIDS. Well, we're not using needles, we're not using hypodermic needles, we're using pins, very small pins, and the transfer of AIDS through needles is usually an intermuscular puncture wound. When we're not going intermuscular, we're just going into the surface of the skin.
Do you get more on Friday than you do on Monday, or how do you set up?
Well, we do a lot of appointments, so we're usually pretty busy all the time.
Is it addicting, in an artistic sense?
Pretty much. It's addicting because people usually have this idea in their head that it's going to be excruciatingly painful, but they really want to do it, so they'll come in and they'll get a little piece done, and they'll be, you know, it's a surprise to them that it was nothing to it, and I would venture to say probably 85% of my customers who get tattooed once within a year are back for another one. We do everything from ear piercing to...
I understand that you're holding a convention soon.
It's going to be great. We had one last year, and we had a little one, and we had a great turnout, so we figured Scranton was ready for a bigger, better show. So you don't have to go to Philadelphia or New York City to go to a big city to see a tattoo convention.
For more information on tattooing or the tattoo convention coming in the summer of '95, call Marc's Tattooing in Scranton at 344-4744 and tell them Out of Focus sent you.
Well, at least my mom always knows what I'm doing.
Boy, I'm glad he's the one that got the tattoo, not me. He really saved my skin. More Out of Focus coming right up.